Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Pastor Jamel, and it is time for The Word.
Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world is pretty cold.
Now, the word for today is, who is on your boat? Now, I know that sounds like a question that the Coast Guard might ask, some rich person with a yacht who's partying in the middle of the sea. But this question today relates to a Bible story, a very familiar Bible story that can be found in a couple of different places in the New Testament. But I'm going to bring from Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. It is the story of Jesus calming the storm. In this story, Jesus and his disciples are on one side of a lake. Jesus tells his disciples, let's go to the other side of the lake. So Jesus and his disciples get into a boat and begin to cross the lake. Now, it's important to know that there are other boats that kind of traveled with Jesus and his disciples. So they're traveling across the lake. Other boats are with them. And all of a sudden, a storm begins to come up. And the storm creates these huge waves. These waves begin crashing onto the boat. I mean, so much so that it almost seems like the boat is going to be engulfed in water. So the boat is rocking back and forth. And while all this is going on, Jesus is sleeping. I mean, this is how unconcerned Jesus is with this storm. Jesus is somewhere in the boat, knocked out. So the disciples run to him and wake him up and say, don't you care if we drown? So Jesus gets up, I could imagine wiping coal out of his eyes, and calms the storm. Jesus tells the storm to be still. The storm goes away, the winds die down, and all of the waves go, and it's calm. Jesus then turns to his disciples and says, why were you afraid? Do you still have no faith? This story really shows us the relationship between faith and fear. See, fear can really grab a hold of you when you don't remember who is on your boat. Essentially, Jesus was asking them, if I'm on your boat, do you really believe that anything could happen that I don't have control over? Do you really believe that something could happen to this boat that I couldn't fix or stop or reconcile? He was really saying, do you know who is on your boat? And I know that this is difficult for some of us because the waves of life can crash on us pretty hard. Sometimes those waves of depression continue to crash on you, waves of loneliness, waves of disappointment, waves of failure, waves of bills. And all of that can be so much that it feels like it's going to engulf us, drown us in it. But it's in those times more than any other that we have to remember who is on your boat. As long as Jesus is on your boat, know that you are going to be okay. Jesus also asked them, do you still not have any faith? See, the disciples had been with Jesus long enough to know his track record. So when he asked, do you not have any faith? He was essentially asking, you don't remember my track record? See, faith is built on trust. Trust is built on love. Love is built on knowing someone's character. Essentially, when Jesus asked, do you still have no faith? He was asking, do you not know my character enough to love me enough, to trust me enough, to have faith enough that as long as I am on your boat, you're going to be okay. So there's no reason for you to be afraid. Now, what makes sense for me, or who makes sense for me to be afraid, are the boats that went along with Jesus. These are boats that Jesus was not on. I can completely understand those individuals being scared for their lives. But there's a very interesting part of this story. When Jesus calmed the storm for the disciples and for their boat, it also calmed the storm for every boat that was in proximity. See, there are some people that watch the word. Maybe people share this video with you, or you just catch it when you're scrolling through. Or maybe there are other videos that you watch. But you're not really ready to fully commit. You're not ready to do this whole spirituality thing. You're not ready to really take the next step with God. And that's completely okay. I have zero judgment for where you are in your spiritual journey towards enlightenment. But I would strongly suggest that you surround yourself with people who know who is on their boat. Jesus calming the storm in their lives could very well save your life simply because you are in proximity. The Bible says in Colossians 3:11 that Christ is all and is in all. Knowing that Christ is inside of you should give you a level of faith that you never fear when the waves of life begin crashing around you. Who is on your boat? Remember that and watch the waves in your life begin to calm, just as Jesus calmed the winds for the disciples. Hey, I hope that this blessed you. I love you all. We'll see you next time for the word.